why am I so dead set on winning the day? It's all I think about. It is pretty much my obsession, because the people who want to take that away are bastards, and they suck, and they deal in division, violence, and to make you self-destructive. There's a girl I've known, she's a woman now, she's 49 years of age, a very famous LA musician. I'm not going to tell you her name because we'll keep it private, it's not important to the story. When heroin hit Los Angeles decades ago, she was one of the bright, gorgeous, young bits of talent that got swept up in it. And she's a fragile character. She's a true artist. If you give her a paintbrush, she'll paint. If you give her a keyboard, she'll write a beautiful, gut-wrenching song right in front of you, like right in your face. She's that creative. But she got into heroin, probably because she has some other mental issues, and she was medicating with the dope. And we became friends because we're both starving on the LA music scene, and she was more talented than I'll ever be, so I was a fan of hers, and we became friends. And so she said, heroin is ruining my life. Henry, you're like the punk rock Boy Scout guy. Give me a pep talk. I'm like, okay. And I said, I lectured her for like an hour. I said, you have more creative talent in your little finger than I have in my whole lumpy body. And it's true. And I said, if I had your talent, I wouldn't sleep. All I would do is write songs, paint, and sculpt. And she does all of this marvelously. She sings her ass off. Her lyrics they're from another planet. And I said, you're the person. You're the real thing. I'm just some hack who likes to yell into a microphone. You're an artist. I wish I had some of that. If you get off the dope, you can do that thing that the rest of us wish we could do, that the rest of us kind of pretend that we do. And she said, yeah. And I'm like, be all that you can be, hey. But it's true, she is this incredible talent. And so I figured, well, I talked to her, I gave her my best stuff, and the heroin will leave her body and she'll never want to do dope again. About like 8 months later, I get the second of what is now at least 45 phone calls in the multiple decades we have been friends. And every 8 to 15 months, this woman calls me. Henry, I'm on heroin again. Give me the pep talk. And I kind of should be done with this person. I should say, well, no. I've given you the lecture, I give you my best stuff, and all you do is go do dope. But that's not heroic, and that's not courageous, because it's not always about how you conduct yourself in this life by not buying into the crap. It's what you do for other people. And so she's from a time where I was coming up. When she falls, I pick her up. I do not let her sit on the ground. She can call me every week. I will give her that lecture every week until she finally overdoses and dies. I will do that. Why? Because I don't leave anyone on the battlefield. You just don't do it, because it is really either them or it's us. And so every once in a while, I need to pull my head out of my own ass and go, okay, someone's down, I'm coming. And so I've been doing that with this woman for years and years and years. And so a couple of years ago, I'm on tour, as always. I'm in Maine, beautiful Maine on the eastern seaboard. I get an email from this woman, and I'm in this small Art Deco club, and I get this email. Dear Henry, it's the aforementioned woman. I tried to kill myself the other day, and I didn't want to write you and bore you and make you angry with me, because I know you're on tour and you don't like to be disturbed because you have a show every single night. So I wanted to write you and tell you that I was going to kill myself so you could talk me out of it, but I figured I'm not going to bother Henry. I'm just going to go get it over with. And so obviously it didn't work, because she's alive enough to write me. So this is, and again, suicide's not funny, but this one kind of is. And like stabbings and suicides every once in a while are funny. And so she goes into her garage, she gets into her car after closing the doors, and she turns on the engine, and she sits back to go into a long sleep into the great hereafter. Unfortunately for death, she has a hybrid, and there was not enough gunk coming out of the car to kill her. So I would like to thank Toyota for keeping my friend alive. It's true, and it's like I said, like no suicide attempt is funny, but now and then they're kind of funny. And obviously we're all very happy that she sucks at suicide, because the world's a better place with her alive in it, like you and I are. And so now we're all grown up. She's almost 50, I'm almost 75, and I get an email from her about, 2 weeks ago, right before I was about to come out here. Dear Henry, it's the aforementioned. I'm 3 days off of heroin. I'm in a halfway house in a really difficult to get to part of Southern California that requires 9 frickin' highways to get to. I have no one in Los Angeles to talk to. I'm very lonely. I'm so lonely. Will you come and visit me? It is a Saturday. I'm like many of you. I work my ass off. Saturday, that's my day. I wanted to play too many records. I wanted to obsess about records I don't want to pay too much money for on the internet. I want to obsess over vinyl, play records, and dick around on the internet and drink hot or cold caffeinated drinks. That is my Saturday. That is what a wild man I am. Yet, my friend comes calling and she says, I'm lonely. And immediately I'm like, oh, no, I'll save you. And so she gives me the number of the halfway house. And so I get on the phone with her. I call her. I have to talk to some aide, somebody who works there. I get permission to talk to the patient. It's very regimented. And so she comes on the line. I said, hey, I'm going to come out and visit you today. How many highways? It's 15 highways. Make it 20. It's like in nowhere, California. It's in some Eagles song, somewhere out in the California desert. It's in the middle of a Joan Didion novel or short story or essay. I don't expect you to have that kind of grip on American literature, but she's worth checking out anyway. And so I stupidly said to her, and stupid, I said, is there anything I can bring you? Thinking she would be a polite adult. Oh no, just a bottle of water, that would be great. But no, yes, actually, I need this and this and this and this and this and this. I went into stores that I've never been into in my life, like Target. I've never been in one in my life. I went into Target and I see the Americans that I fear. Their kids are fat, mom is fat, dad is fat, and they're all loaded. I mean, it's guns and hate and subliteracy. I mean, these are terrifying Americans. They hate my president, they hate the idea of Bill marrying Tom, and they hate the idea of books. Words, polysyllabic words scare them. English is perhaps your second or maybe third language. You speak it better than at least 35% of people in America, at least. Don't cheer. It's like, what? You're happy about that? You should be going like, damn, they need to do some more cranial push-ups. I know. I'm trying. I'm just one good-looking 52-year-old man. I can only do so much. And so I go on this ridiculous shopping trip. I'm buying ladies' gym clothes. I'm like, how do you size that? I'm like, fantastic. And so I'm buying all this stuff. The whole mission takes like 5 or 6 hours. Saturday is completely stabbed in the ribs, keels over and dies. And so hours later, I find myself in this backyard of this halfway house talking to my broken friend. And I see a haggard old woman walking up to me. She looks like a witch. The hair is dry, the skin is dry and flaky. And she comes up to me, and her teeth are all messed up. And she goes like, hi, Henry. And I said, wow, hello. And my friend said, you don't recognize her? I said, no, I'm sorry. And it is another woman from a very well-known LA punk rock band who I've known since I was about 22. And she's a wonderful woman. But she liked a lot of heroin, and she liked a lot of crystal meth, and she liked a lot of men who beat the living hell out of her over and over. And so now she's in this halfway house because her jaw was broken by her last boyfriend, which got her re-addicted to pain medication. I mean, she's living in a Hank Williams song. I mean, she is a Bruce Springsteen concept album. And she is nice and as gentle and as decent as the day is long, yet she is broken. And she's about my age. She's like 800 years old. And I sadly think that at that age, when you're that broken, you don't get unbroken. Like my friend, My friend, she's gonna be addicted to dope until one day she's gonna screw it up. And I'm gonna get that awful phone call, and I know, because her parents aren't really around, I'm gonna be tasked with buying the casket, getting the funeral together. I've done it before, and I'll do it for her. I'll carry her one last yard off the battlefield to however she wants to be dispatched. And so what I'm saying to you is, if you're gonna dig this music, if you're gonna go into the real world where it's real elbows and real drugs and real life and real death, you need to have your wits about you, because that kind of world, and I'm not saying, oh, it's all danger, all gonna be destroyed. I'm just saying, that is a world that plays for keeps. You have it in your country, I have it in my country. And that is why not only do we have to be really smart, you've got to be really compassionate, and you have to be really tolerant, and you have to look at violence in the abstract. You're like, well, wars actually do suck, unless it's a video game or a movie, because when the rubber meets the road on that front, it's not so good.